I'm Eric Loy, and welcome to Eric Loy Interviews. On this podcast, we talk with folks from the VTuber community on their channels, their talents, their stories, where they come from, and their plans for the future. We are joined by Prov, the innkeeper of the Proverbial Inn. Hi.
Hello.
Hey, please introduce yourself to everybody.
All right. I am Prov, also known as the Proverbial Innkeeper. I have a channel which is a little bit of a concept. It's a multi-character channel, like VTuber channel, where I play different characters depending on the circumstances, and it's a fantasy themed channel.
That's cool. Now, when did you come up with the idea for that?
Oh, okay. When did I do that? That might have been some 2.5 years ago.
Wow.
I guess it's okay. I was playing D&D with friends at the time,
Right.
and some of the people from my group were very into VTubers, and so every so often they would send me clips. But I didn't really get the idea of streaming quite from there. Basically, it's sort of something that went out of control. Yeah,
You were on top of the hill. It started rolling away from you downhill and got too fast for you.
Exactly. Okay, so you know that one meme with the tiny domino that ends up pushing a large domino?
Yes.
Yeah, the tiny domino for me was when I was playing D&D with my friends, and I thought, okay, we don't have our cameras on, but you know what would be cool? If I drew my character and I just had them like flap their mouth, and I just put that as my camera, as a virtual camera.
Wow, there you go.
And so basically I was PNG tubing the whole time while we were playing D&D.
Just not for a big audience.
Exactly. And like they were teasing me at the time. They were like, watch, he's going to be a VTuber like soon. He's just going to
No, you proved them right.
And yeah, eventually I did.
So when you did make that transition, was it easy for you to get in front of an audience, so to speak, this way?
Oh no. Okay, so I'm naturally kind of a shy person, and I've tried theater when I was a teenager to get out of that problem, and it had a side effect in that it didn't really help for regular socialization.
Right.
But now I can speak in front of an audience as long as I don't see them too much, because when you're on stage, you have the stage lighting that's on you, and so all that you see from the audience it's just like a big bit of shadow. You don't see them, you just hear them like laugh when you tell a joke or something.
I don't know, I've never heard anybody laugh when I tell a joke. What's it like?
Well, there you go.
I understand that. I actually took a little back in ancient history when I was in school. I took one drama class myself, and I wasn't looking to get on stage or anything, but I was deathly afraid of getting in front of audiences and talking. And if you want to be a radio guy, I mean, eventually you're going to be in front of an audience you can see.
Yeah.
So it did help me a lot with that, and it's something I continue using today, or at least I did when I was out doing radio things. But so that helped you out a lot, huh?
It helped somewhat, but there was still that sort of weird, awkward moment where I would be doing improv because the thing is, my channel is in character.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I would be doing um, essentially role play in front of an audience. I wouldn't know how many would show up,
Yeah.
etc. So it was still a little daunting. But a friend of mine helped with that. Decided that hey, if I was going to do a stream, he was going to try to stream with me so
Yeah.
that I would have someone to bounce some lines off of.
That's good. That's a good idea. Especially, I would think if you're doing it as characters and
Hmm.
and it it'd be easier than coming up with like kind of storylines for each one each time you come on. That would be pretty tough to do.
Yeah, it's sometimes it's a little difficult to picture how a character would react to this or that situation, and so it's easy if like half of the time it's actually the person that I'm streaming with
Mm,
who reacts.
yeah. So,
Uh, uh,
how does that work with chat? Do do they are they in on being able to interact
oh
with
yeah,
different people? Or
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Chat is basically in it's a little like I would say it's a little like what's it called? Pro wrestling,
Ah, yes.
or a little also a little like a puppet show.
Okay.
Like uh, like if people were watching the Muppet Show and they were talking to Kermit.
Yeah. Okay. I
Like
understand that.
Kermit is still going to answer in character.
Yeah.
Uh, and I mean, chat is being really nice about that and just actually addressing the characters and forgetting about the puppeteer.
Mm. Well, that's
And
that
I'm very
that's good.
yeah, I'm very grateful for that because that's sort of in line with the sort of escapist experience I want to provide.
Yeah, see, I don't know.
Like for a bit. Mhm.
Yeah, this is very unique for me to hear. I mean, there's some people who sometimes do one or two different things online, but it sounds like you're handling a whole herd there of people.
Oh yes, yeah.
How many different patrons do you have in this bar?
Oh, okay. So I think I have five of mine.
Hmm.
The innkeeper is just the personality, like the character that I use as a stand-in for myself.
Hmm.
Like if I say that I'm going to do something, I don't know, to do something for the channel, but I say that in character, then I will just say that the innkeeper has to do something with the inn right now.
Mm,
The inn will be closed because the innkeeper is busy.
right.
Um, but then there's also my wife streams with me sometimes. At the moment, she's been streaming with me. We've been playing Baldur's Gate.
Mm, yeah.
And she's been streaming with me in character. So, like, her stand-in is the innkeeper's wife, who's like the cook.
Yeah.
But she's been playing that orcish lady that you see on the image who's eating a pie. Uh, so she's been playing this character with me, and we've been going through Baldur's Gate in character, and it's been a lot of fun because a lot of times she has those really funny quips that I wish I could emulate this sort of spontaneity, but she's so cool.
Hey,
Sorry, I'm doting a bit.
no, no, it's perfectly fine. That's what most of us do when we marry somebody.
Mm.
Marry somebody that we marry them because they can do all the stuff we can't.
Hmm.
And for my wife's
But
case, it's virtually everything that I can't do. But really, it sounds like you're having a lot of fun with the concept, and we've been doing you're doing it now for how long now with this channel?
uh, 2 years and a half, I would guess. That was oh no, 2 years and a little bit. I
Yeah.
think I started in November 2022.
Oh, cool. Oh, so it's been almost 3 years now.
Um,
Yeah, you're going on year
not
three, so.
Oh, I'm going on year three. Yeah,
Yeah, so
I'm
that's
starting year three.
so something's working, right? I mean, you've been able to keep it going. Have you kind of,
Oh,
as you've gone on with the concept, have you altered it a little bit since you turned on the microphone for the
mm,
first time?
I wouldn't say so. I wouldn't say so, although I'm likely, as I said, I'm prone to letting ideas get out of control, and it's likely that I will eventually add characters as I keep playing games outside of the channel, and I
Uh-huh.
just come up with new concepts, and I start thinking, huh, how about this other character? How about some different kind of fighter who would be more appropriate for, let's say I do fighting games. I
Mm,
could decide to have a character who's just good at fighting with their fists and who
mm,
just comments on the technique of this or that character
yeah,
as they play fighting games.
yeah. A
Um,
half orc barbarian, that'll work.
yeah, exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. Something like that.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Boy, it's been a long time since I
I,
did D&D. I would say
but
probably almost 45 years.
oof. Oh yeah, that's a while. Like
Yeah.
it looked very different back then.
Oh, it was. It was just one book.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
we,
And I think at the time, elf was like a class as opposed to a race who could be basically any class.
yeah, it was definitely different than
Mm.
today. And I talked to folks about this who were interested in D&D back then, but really almost every RPG could find its
Mhm.
roots back in Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, it was one of the big ones that it has influenced a lot.
Yeah, I know I've played a few games since then on the different computers I've had over the centuries, and,
Mhm.
and that all of them seem to be um, at least somewhat based on that original engine. But the game itself has had to adapt too because people wanted
Mhm.
more and more advanced and super advanced and more immersive type of things and I bet I wouldn't even recognize it now. Are you still playing D&D?
Oh yes, yes,
Mm.
yes. I'm actually running it sometimes,
Oh.
which is something else that allows me to essentially put on the mask of a thousand different characters. And I guess that it's a sort of variety that appeals to me. It was also basically the concept of the channel also allowed me to not pick, like to not choose. I could just have everything if I wanted.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Like
Have you
some
gone?
people just
Have you can occasionally bounced back and forth between characters while you were on stream?
uh perhaps not in the same stream,
Hmm.
although it might have happened, I think, during the first anniversary stream.
Mm.
I had what I call the wheel of hosts, and I just decided that I if I couldn't decide who would show up, then I would just roll it live,
Mm. That's
and then I just had an ad break, and when I returned, I was in character.
How long does it take you to do that? I mean, is there voice inflection changes? Is there?
Uh, okay, there is more than just voice inflection changes. I have a voice modifier that I use sometimes.
Hmm.
Um, for the voice modifier, all it takes is click a different button.
Ah, all right. So you got that planned out.
But
That's good.
but like but I would have to load a different character model, which doesn't take very long, really.
Mm.
Um, I've modeled myself like a couple of characters, and the which is great in that I can add one whenever I want because I can just model it myself in Blender.
Yeah.
But the other side of the coin is I model it myself in Blender, and it's a lot of work.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and you want to do it right too. I mean, you don't want to come up with a character and kind of only half flesh it out. You want to.
Exactly.
Do you have backstories for each one of them?
I have backstories, and that was easy to it was easy to have them because I had already made the backstories for the games of D&D that I played.
Oh, right, that's true.
So essentially, I just repurposed them.
There you go. Now, what I want to know is when you have a stream schedule each week.
Hmm.
Okay, so do you put who is going to be on the stream on your
I,
schedule, or do you decide that day, or how do you do it?
yes, yes, okay. I put which character will be on the stream on the schedule
Mm-hmm.
because typically I run two different game series per week.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have two different streams. Um, at the moment, I have Baldur's Gate and I have Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
But I on the schedule, I just put a little image of the character's face, and I just say, "Oh, Thursday is going to be this game with this character,"
Mm-hmm.
and this character stays, or rather, the character stays the same for the entire series, basically.
Oh, okay. So you have
So
one
it's
character
basically
per
this.
series. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, exactly.
Well, that makes sense. Yeah. It would be a little tougher to do, just be switching characters a
Oh
whole lot during
yes,
the series because then you have to, you know, there's
I had
just a
to
lot involved
rationalize.
in order to keep it
Yeah,
going. Especially a
I,
series
I
that you
had.
can pick. If it's one shots games, I would imagine it'd be a little easier because I
Oh
mean,
yes, very
yeah.
much, very
So
much so. But
so
if it's like a story-driven game, it's like, how do I rationalize the fact that uh, those characters are having sort of round-robin
yeah,
ways of telling the story that's happening?
and really they'd all have different experiences with the game too. I mean, you couldn't,
Exactly.
yeah, they'd have different perceptions of how it works. This is getting complicated, Prof.
Ex- Exactly. I think it would be a headache. It would be a headache. It's a lot easier for me to just be like, yeah, this character will play. Uh, like this, the wizard will be playing this game about potions,
Mm.
and they'd be there like until the end.
Mm. Well, if you're gonna match them up like that, you better win.
Yes, yes, because then there's moments when, obviously, I am not a wizard. I am not actually a wizard in real life. I'm very sorry to break the heart
Oh man,
and destroy the kayfabe like this, but
you promised a wizard.
but it turns out that in real life I don't actually have like an intelligence score of 20, and sometimes I make like decisions that are a little illogical, or that make no strategic sense.
Sometimes you
And
just roll a
I just
one.
ration I just rationalize it with like, yeah, I was distracted, or like, oh, I had too much to drink, or you know,
Yes,
some.
a
I'm
wizard.
sorry, I was thinking about this book.
Yes, a wizard did it. That's what.
Exactly.
Why does that happen? A wizard
Uh,
divine did it.
my familiar distracted me.
Yes,
My
right.
familiar picked the idea, and I just followed like a fool.
Now, has there been characters that you've tried out that didn't work out so well?
I don't really think so, because so far, I was going to say they're all characters that I've already played
Mm-hmm.
in games, so I sort of already have experience with them.
Mm. Yeah, so,
As an aside, actually, another great effect of this was that it allowed me to play those characters despite the fact that the respective campaigns of those characters were over,
hmm.
which means that I would otherwise not get to play them.
So you're not able to when you do playing D and are playing D&D straight up. Do you don't take those characters and bring them to other adventures?
I could, but sometimes there's one character in particular who was in a horror campaign,
Mm-hmm.
and she survived the campaign, and it was very dark in tone. For those in the know, it was Curse of Strahd,
Mm.
and she survived the campaign. And I was just thinking, I love this character to bits, but she survived. I don't want her to just like. It might sound silly, but I don't want her to die. I would just rather she just rode away into the sunset and essentially retired from adventuring.
We have when I was first with my first computer I owned was a Commodore 64, so it's
Hmm.
talking about 1980s, and
Hmm.
we had Dungeons and Dragons games for it, and it was pretty basic, but it was a lot of fun for me. And you could reuse the characters over and over again and continue leveling them up.
Oh,
And you can in and something that was big for those days, you could take the
mhm.
character from one game and bring it on to the next game and continue
Yeah,
leveling them up. Which for
that
Commodore 64, that's pretty good.
that does seem pretty good for the time.
Yeah,
Like,
nowadays you're like, do it all the time. No, it was we had floppy disks and stuff we had to deal with back then. So,
oh yes, I remember games that had no save states and
uh,
such. It was,
it was
ugh.
well, you could save them, but it took like 6 hours to save a game sometimes. But we would have. I had one group of six that were leveled up so high by the time I was done. Dual levels, which had just been introduced back then, um,
Mhm.
and they all had at least had two different things they could do. So like fighter cleric and mage cleric and all
Mhm.
this stuff. Everybody had spells and could heal, and it was really funny to start the game over again with these super high characters. And you can
Yes,
keep
we
all
could just like
yeah, and you can
mop the floor with the boss and
oh
such.
yeah, and you could keep the loot too. So it was great fun to find all the little things when you're way overpowered for all of them. But
Hmm.
um, so that I mean back then that was amazing. Now people are like, oh yeah, sure, were you banging rocks together or what? Yeah, pretty much. But it's been around for a long time, and it's good to see that folks are continuing to have fun with it. And,
Oh yes.
how often do you do D&D now live?
I think that at the moment there's a little bit of a break,
Mm,
but at best it's weekly. We used to have 2 weekly games, which kept me really busy in the weekends.
mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it's really fun, something to look forward to.
Yeah, it is, and it's a way to socialize with folks who are like-minded.
Hmm.
And if you're DM, you can try to kill them off.
Oh.
So while you're DMing, are you a mean DM, are you a crafty DM, or do you just want to kill them?
I'm just like these days. It feels like the mindset of a player versus DM is kind of mostly a thing of the past, I would say.
Ah,
At the moment, I try to. I don't. I'm trying not to pull punches, but it's difficult because I kind of want to see them succeed. I'm a little bit of I think I'm a little bit of the dad DM. I just
oh,
want to see them. I just want to see them fulfill their destiny, but I don't want to make it too easy either because then they don't get any satisfaction from it.
and now they can do this, but just if they take advantage, then you roll the dice and they die.
Exactly.
Now you should do
Exactly.
that.
If they take advantage, I can take advantage too. I know a lot more than they do.
That's right. That's right. That's right. It was always fun to try and thwart the dungeon master back in the day, and
Mhm.
and they'd have all these traps set up, and then we'd already have ways to fix the traps. Or one
Oh,
time,
I do.
yeah, it was we had of course it was really basic back then, so folks don't laugh
Mhm.
at us too much. But we actually carried around a um, a body with us, and we would throw it in the room ahead of us to set off any traps. He was so
I think
angry.
that I think people might still do that.
He was so
People
mad.
might still do that, but I just love it when my players surprise me with something.
Yeah.
I just have that sort of lateral thinking that just sort of thwarts one of the obstacles, and I just think, wow, they're being clever and they're engaging with the dungeon, and with they're coming up with a solution that actually surprised me.
Yeah, yeah. Then you have to make sure and pretend that you thought about that all along.
Oh yes.
The dungeon master, you cannot beat the dungeon master. I know everything. How did they come up with that? Now I got to think of something up. And Gold Dragon shows up with 12 of its friends
Oh,
in a
poor
one by
players.
one room. Oh, that was so amazing back in the day. But so how often are you streaming a week?
I'm streaming twice a week,
Mm-hmm.
usually around after dinner for myself.
Mm-hmm.
So at around 8:30 Paris time,
Mm-hmm. Which is like GMT plus 1 or 2
GMT plus one, I
plus
think.
1. Okay, yeah. So that's that's one way for folks to figure out time zones is use
Mm.
GMT as a base, Greenwich Mean
Oh
Time.
yes,
I used to be an old
yeah, yeah.
shortwave radio listener, so I know what that was about. Um, but folks, yeah. First, do you have some trouble sometimes with getting an audience from the time zone you're in?
Um, well, the thing is, my native language is French,
Mm-hmm.
but I stream in English for international audiences.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the fact is, if I don't get an audience for this time zone, I can always get an audience from elsewhere.
Mm. Mm. Have you ever done a stream in French?
I've never done a stream in French.
Mm.
Although every so often when French comes up as a language, I just claim it's Elvish.
Sometimes it smells like it, depending on the person. if
I
you if you
just, I
if you
just,
don't know a
oh,
lick of it,
that
yeah, it does kind of sound like that every once in a
this is
while.
a little bit of je ne sais quoi, which is Elvish for an undefinable thing.
Elvish for pancakes. That's what it is, pancakes. Oh, I'm kind of surprised. I don't know if you're surprised by this or not, but um, there aren't that many, other than, of course, in the Pacific area, that are using anything but English at this point. Do you think that will ever catch on? That we'll see more languages in VTubing?
I know that I watch a streamer who streams in both English and Spanish
Mm-hmm.
because he's from Mexico,
Mm-hmm.
and he just switches between the two,
Mm. Yeah.
so that he has an audience that speaks both languages.
Ah, good. Good.
Uh, but regarding VTubing, I'm not sure actually.
Mm.
I think that, well, because English is kind of the lingua franca of the internet at this point,
Right.
or at least of Twitch.
Right.
Um, it's very common for people to just decide to broadcast in English so that more people will be able to understand, and
Right.
so that they get as broad an audience as possible.
Mm. Yeah.
Uh,
I, I
but
I understand that. I understand that. I'm just kind of wondering if sooner or later, folks might not who can speak 2 languages. I can barely speak the one I've got. Um, that we'll try to do. We'll do a little bit on the side. Maybe start building that audience a little bit because that could be that could be a pretty. I'm thinking marketing again. My old radio skit things are kicking in. Uh, but that could be an untapped audience for folks. I wonder. I wonder if that'll eventually come up in the future.
That's, it could be really interesting to have like even streamers who do who stream in English
Mm-hmm.
to have like one day of the week in
Yeah.
which they speak their mother language.
Mm. Yeah. I don't know whether it would be a great idea or a terrible idea, but I know it's an idea.
An idea. This is something. If there's a budding streamer or VTuber listening right now, it might be something that they look into.
Well, they certainly can. They don't have to pay me too much for the idea. So, what are your goals right now for the inn? Are there going to be more customers? Are there going to be more streams? Different types of games? What do you got planned?
I'm probably going to eventually add some characters,
Mm-hmm.
but my goal right now is I kind of want to make a 3D environment
Mm-hmm.
for the inn because right now I'm using 3D models for
Mm-hmm.
the characters, but the counter and the wall behind them, they're just images.
Right.
And I'm just thinking if I made 3D models for that,
Mm.
I would have the possibility of the character models and the environmental models. How could I say, interacting with each other.
Okay.
And I think it would be interesting. I would be able to look at the counter from a different angle. And that could also be cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's my goal right now, but it's a bit work intensive.
Yeah. That's going to take some work
Hmm.
to put that together. The way and I imagine that just from talking with you that that while you're having fun with it, you're still going to want to put the work in it to make sure it's done right.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. I wouldn't want to say that I've been working on this and in the end I just show it and it's kind of shoddy. And I've sort of been not really hyping it up, but I've been mentioning it for a while as something that I was excited about and then it's
And
sort of what's it called? It's like the is that a phrase in English? The mountain that gives birth to a mouse?
making a mountain into a molehill, that type of thing.
Yes, something like that. Or it's instead of coming out with a bang, it sort of fizzles out, and
And
it's
with a
it's
whimper,
just
yeah, that sort of thing.
hmm
Yeah, I that's
uh,
he's like you've been hyping the artwork and it comes out as stick figures.
exactly, exactly. It comes out just made out of undetailed cubes and cylinders, and oh yes, it's a barrel. It's a wooden barrel. Can't you see?
All of my customers are wooden barrels.
Mhm.
Well,
Something
it could
Something
be.
else they've been working on is little videos showing the lore or backstories of the characters,
Oh, cool.
and I'm making them in a sort of um, medieval manuscript-like animation,
Hmm.
um, but a little bit like the introduction to Shrek,
Oh, okay.
like that sort of storybook.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I've just been working on that. It's been a lot of fun emulating the sort of that sort of medieval uh, artwork style
yeah.
because sometimes so- some things are just so incredibly off model that it amuses me like if you've ever seen images of lions or turtles
Yeah. What the
from
heck? Oh, well, okay. Well, we'll just use it. We'll go from there.
yes, that's
So,
a monk who has been tasked with drawing something like an elephant,
yes.
but they've never actually left the kingdom, and they've never seen an actual elephant. So they will draw, something with tusks,
Yeah.
long nose,
A cat. A
and they
cat with
just go with it.
tusks. That's what they end up drawing.
Mhm.
So,
Probably some sort of boar, but with a long nose, I
yes,
guess.
yes. Did you think when you got this started a couple years ago? and you still be going strong and coming up with new ideas for it?
Um, oh, I'm prone to getting distracted.
Mm.
So would I have probably actually probably I would probably have been able to imagine myself still coming up with ideas because when inspiration really strikes, I can I can go I can go and create for months, years.
Well, that's a great aspect to have, and I'm very glad to have met you here, and I'm glad to see that you're enjoying yourself. That's the biggest thing.
Thank you very
I mean,
much.
it's obvious in talking to you how much this has become a big part of what you do, and a big part of yourself as well. You're giving a lot of yourself to people here, you know.
Well, to be fair, I do really love entertaining people. It's just the idea that people could just come to my little corner of the internet and that they could feel better after it and just, or even just feel entertained and leave with a smile on their face. That's that's gold.
Yeah, it really is, and you're doing a great job of it. I know I've got a smile on my face after talking with you here for a while, and we'll have to get you back again once we get some more customers in the inn. But thank you so much for coming on, and we're gonna have some links for folks in the description for the interview, and
Well,
see,
thank you for having me.
absolutely, we're gonna have to see what the Prov has going on at the inn, the Proverbial Inn. A interesting and great concept, done really well, and I congratulate you for that. We're gonna see
Thank you very much.
we'll see what the inn has coming up for us over this new year. Again, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. Well, thank you again for the opportunity. That was really cool.
Thank you for listening to Eric Loy Interviews. Join us again next time when we talk to another member of the always interesting VTuber community.